Mr. Ali, my advice to most young people who think they might someday want to be a judge is don't put anything in writing, because the Senate Judiciary Committee is going to read it and draw their conclusions as to who you really, really are. We have had some nominees who have produced poetry, which some members of the committee have judged proof positive that they are Marxist. So I'm prepared for almost any conclusion. You've submitted numerous amicus briefs over the course of your career as a litigator, and on some of those briefs you've been joined by organizations from across the political spectrum, including the Cato Institute. Speak about some of the issues you've worked on that seem to bring together unusual political allies, as well as why you think these issues are so important.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to that part of my advocacy. And that has been in a role as advocate, which I understand is fundamentally different than the role I've been nominated here for today. I am, in my role as an advocate, really proud of the work we've been able to do to build bridges and build coalitions on issues mostly related to government accountability. And as you noted, Senator, it's been with organizations like the Cato Institute. It's been with the support and working closely with law enforcement organizations. It's been with organizations, even the Alliance Defending Freedom and the Second Amendment Foundation, and other organizations that people sometimes would be surprised to know could come together and argue in favor of a more just system in that advocacy.
Judge Harjani, you were one of the lead trial counsels in U.S. versus Kosia, which was the first case in this country to prosecute a trader for commodity spoofing and flash trading. It is not uncommon for members of the committee to query nominees about points of law and areas of law. And I would hate to be tested on the issue of commodity spoofing. But since this was a case in your background, could you describe it to this committee?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I had the great privilege while being an assistant United States attorney to do the first trial prosecution involving flash trading or spoofing, which is essentially a commodities fraud scheme whereby individual traders will input trades that are not meant to be executed, that are meant to be canceled in order to dupe other traders from putting in orders and trading. And as a result, the schemer is taking the opposite side of the trade. So they push prices up, they make a profit. If they push prices down, they make a profit. And it essentially is a way to play with the markets and to play with supply and demand in an illegal way, because it's done not to execute trades, but to trick others. I was very grateful to be a trial lawyer in that case, received convictions on all counts against the defendant, and a sentence of imprisonment. And as you've noted, Senator, I've devoted my life to protecting victims of investment fraud. I have felt very strongly that victims need their day in court, their voices need to be heard, and that is the duty of prosecutors to protect them. And that was my career before I joined the bench, and I'm very grateful to have that opportunity. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Yoon, members often question nominees based on their background as to whether they come with a bias toward defense, a bias toward prosecution. In the course of your practice, you've worked on both sides, both tables. Tell me a little bit about the issue of bias and why those who appear before you, should you become district court judge, which I believe you will, can feel that they have a chance.
Thank you for the opportunity, Senator. In my career, I had the great privilege of working both ends of the aisle, being a defense attorney as well as a federal prosecutor. I've also worked in the areas of both civil and criminal law. If you look at my record, you will see that I have always served my clients fairly and impartially and was a zealous advocate for all of them. With that, I also understand the great responsibility of our judges to be fair and impartial and make decisions without fear or favor. Should I be so fortunate to be confirmed, I will look to my vast experience in both areas and will make sure that anyone who comes before me in the courtroom will have a fair shake. Thank you, Senator.